Welcome to the 19th episode of Generation Gap Book Reviews. I'm Christy, the mom.
And I'm Lena the daughter.
In this episode, we are going to be reviewing the book The City of Ember by Jeanne DuPrau. I don't actually know that I can remember for sure how I came across this book. I read it about 2.5 years ago. I got it from Dad. Yep, that's it. It was Dad.
Thrift store.
He saw it. I don't even think I was with him, and he brought it home from a thrift store or library sale or something because he either had read it in the past or had heard of it. You know what I think it was? I think he knew about the movie and he thought I might like the book. Anyway, the point is, it's another one of those ones that Dad saw somewhere, had some reason to think I might like it, and brought it home for me to read. And then I recommended it to you, or possibly just put it on
It
I think I
was
put
like
it
a
on the list
school
of
book.
possible books you could read for school. So this book is about the City of Ember. Ooh, what a shock, right?
No, it's about the City of Ashes.
Which is a city that has survived for over 200 years in a world of darkness. And it's lit up with electric lights. But lately, at the time of this book starting, the lights have been going out more and more often. And no one seems to know why or how to stop that from happening. Our main characters are
Me! Sorry, her name's Lina. So it's kind of close to Lena. And Dune.
and Dune, who are both 12 years old. And at 12 years old in this world, everybody's assigned a job for the city. Lina is assigned a job working in the pipe works,
Yeah,
and
laborer.
Dune is assigned a job as messenger, which would be literally running messages around the city from one person to another. And they end up actually deciding to swap because she really wanted to be a messenger and he'd rather work in the pipe works. And over the course of the book, Lina and Dune, I think they sort of start out separately, but then ending up coming together on this. They think they may have found something that might just save everyone in Ember. But the problem is they can't really get anyone to pay attention to them and
Because they're
believe them
12 years old.
because they're 12 years old. Nobody really thinks that kids can do nobody really listens to kids.
Exactly.
You're not a kid. You're a teenager.
True. I know, I'm not a child, but I'm your kid.
That's what Brennan always says. I'm not a child, but I am a kid. Or at least he used to say that.
That's
I don't know if
what
he
he's
said that now.
23.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so Lena,
Yes, woman.
what did you like about this book?
I liked the friendship between Dune and Lina. I mean, what? Friendship.
Okay, that was a little odd. Is that it? You just like their friendship?
I liked the plot because it was interesting and it was dystopian and it was like an interesting dystopian, different kind of concept of what
It was
normally
interesting and it
is.
was dystopian and it was interesting dystopian.
Listen, my brain is muddled today. I'm sorry.
You know how often you say that?
No, I feel like I'm extra muddled today. I don't know why. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh,
I mean, it wasn't a real long book, so I don't expect you to have a ton of stuff that you liked about it that you can think of.
it was like it was a different kind of plot than like what somebody might be used to in dystopian.
It was dystopian, but not
It was
stereotypical dystopian.
yeah, and then like I don't know, it was different. I thought it was interesting. Even though I read it like 2 years ago. And you?
I liked the friendship between Lina and Dune, the way they worked together. I mean, I really don't have anything different to say than you, but I'd build on it a bit because I also thought the plot was really interesting. It was almost sort of a mystery as we try to understand what's going on with this city and why the lights are going out and what they can do about it. And this thing that I don't know how much of a spoiler. I don't know how much of a spoiler it is to say what it is that they find because it's actually something that is at least introduced at the beginning of the book, but them trying to decipher it and understand what is trying to tell them and follow through on it is interesting. I really liked following along with the ways that the people of the city it's not just the lights going out. The city has survived basically in a metaphorically in a bubble for 200 years. Like there's not been any infusion of people from outside. They don't leave. There's actually like a whole dark area, if you remember, outside the city that if that somebody tried to leave and they ended up coming back mad like
Oh,
crazy. So they're in a in a bubble of sorts, and thus nothing comes in, nothing goes out. I think they grow a little bit of food, but a lot of it is like canned stuff
mhm.
that is starting to dwindle. And I remember something about like paper and colored pencils are a luxury, and the different ways that they try to reuse everything. All of that just was stuff that was something I just really found fascinating, that the author, her seeing her imagination come out and all of that. Lina and Dune are, besides like liking their friendship, they are also really well crafted characters, which is pretty good for not a real long book. I mean, it's only 200 and some pages, and it's really big print. So I mean, like comparatively, because this is a book meant for about 12-year-olds. So it's a pretty quick read. And for dystopian, one thing I like about it is I feel like it can be, it's an introduction to dystopian that's not real deep and dark, because it is suspenseful, trying to, as they try to figure out what they need to do and how to save everyone. Basically, I'm not going to say what they have to
Yeah.
save them from, but how to save everyone. And
Save
but it's
me.
not like, violent and dark and stuff like a lot of
Yeah.
other older dystopian is. So I guess that's. So, is there anything you didn't like about it?
Cut off my singing.
Huh?
You cut off my singing. Anyway, I don't know if I had any issues with the book.
I didn't either. So I mean,
Then
I
I'll just go with
guess that's
you.
it. I mean, I guess that's all we really need to say about that part. So, what would you rate it? Since if you can remember it well enough to decide how you would rate it, since I know you weren't rating things back when you read this, how many stars would you give it out of 5?
Well, probably 5.
Yeah, I gave it 5. I really, really enjoyed this book, and
Yeah, I did too.
we've both read the second one. I
Oh,
don't know if we will come back and review it in a podcast. If anything, maybe once you've read the last book finally, maybe we'll just do a kind of an update on the rest of the series in general. I was not a huge fan of the People of Sparks, and I just don't think it had the same draw and enjoyment of the first one. But do you remember what you thought of the second one at all?
I didn't really care for it that much. It was probably like a 4.
I think you'll like the third one more, though. I liked
I
the third
hope
one more.
so.
And of course, when I say the third one, I really mean the fourth one, because the third one, The Prophet of Yan, is actually a prequel and doesn't really connect that much to the main series. But the fourth one then is third in sequence. So that's what we talk about when we say the third one, and that's called The Diamond of Darkhold. Who would you recommend it for?
Kids 11 and up.
I think this is the kind of a book that you don't have to be heavy into sci-fi. You don't have to specifically like dystopian. I think that it can be something that pretty much anybody could be interested in. And I think this is one of those rare kind of books that I feel like I could say that boys would enjoy it as much as girls would.
What? Boys liking books? I don't even see that. That's a lie. I do see it. I don't even see it. I do see boys liking books. Though,
Then why are
so
you saying any of this? You're lying to us.
because just the way that you're like, it would probably be a book that a boy would actually like.
Well, at this
Girl
age,
would.
boys are less likely to be into reading compared to girls. I think this is
That's
one
fine.
that I could see boys getting into. So that's all I'm saying. You didn't have to mock me for it. Jeez. So
So what are we
that is it for
reviewing
this
next?
book.
That's it for its book.
Join us next time in our 20th episode, where we are going to, so to speak, wrap up the first season. We're just making this up as we go, but we decided that the 20th episode is going to be kind of an update episode. We're going to revisit a couple of series that we have reviewed the first book for, those being Book Scavenger and the Winged Feather Saga. And then we are also going to have kind of an update review on a book that each of us reviewed separately in this first season that the other one then later read, and then we got their thoughts on it. So Lena reviewed the Inheritance Games, and then I recently read that, so we'll get my opinion on that book. And then I reviewed originally The Seat Beside Me, and Lena since has read that book, and we're going to get her thoughts on that.
Woo woo!
So,
Yay!
until next time, I'm Christy,
And I'm Lena.
and this is Generation
Generation
Gap
Gap
Book
Book Reviews.
Reviews.